I'm Elizabeth Marshall Thomas, and I'm going to read from my new book, Growing Old, a subject on which I have become an authority. I'm 88. Okay. Reality can be disturbing, and sometimes avoiding it helps. For instance, rather than waiting until my car is empty of gas, I fill the tank when it's half full, because this costs less than filling the tank when it's almost empty. My reasoning may be imperfect, but the illusion of saving money feels good. The same principle applies to aging, but feels is the key word. I need the same amount of gas no matter when I buy it, and even though I'm not as old as I say I am, this doesn't mean I'm not declining. Now and then I test myself. I try to evoke things I forget in the order in which I forget them. First, it was people's names. We all forget names, probably because when we lived in the trees, we didn't have names as we know them, so we don't have instincts about them. Maybe the brain cells that recognize names and know what to do about them are too few or underdeveloped, so our brain finds names unimportant. It's an unhelpful product of evolution, because in our present condition as civilized people, our name is one of the most important things about us. Not that our brains care, though. For instance, one day a friend phoned me to ask the name of the man who owns the local bookstore. He's a wonderful person, a pillar of our community whom everyone loves and respects, and I know his name as well as I know my own. But for some reason I couldn't pull it out. I kept trying to force my brain to reveal it, but my brain turned against me. Get lost, it said. So I told my friend I'd have to call her back. The name was somewhere in my head. I knew that. So I tried my method of meditation. I look up at the sky through the trees and the clouds and let it all in. Often enough, this clears my brain of whatever disables it, and sometimes it will address my needs. Not this time, though. For all my brain cared, I'd never met the owner of the bookstore. Well, fuck you then, I said to my brain. I don't even want to know his name. My brain answered firmly. If you're going to be nasty, I'll never tell you, it said. And I saw there was no hope. Thoroughly humiliated, I had to phone the manager of the bookstore and ask the name of the owner. Willard Williams, said the manager instantly, without even having to think. Yay, of course. I've known it for years. Everyone knows it. I could have asked anyone. What a good name. What a great name. I called my friend back and told her. The next thing I forgot was nouns. What's the word for that thing you sweep dust into? It's flat and has a handle. You hold the thing in one hand and a brush in the other. Thing became my favorite word at this point. I use it 95 times in this book. But strangely, for a while, I didn't forget verbs, no matter how many nouns I was forgetting. I could even remember unusual verbs, such as slunk and retrench. Slunk is the past tense of slink, and retrench, there's some disagreement about how to use retrench. It means reduce or remove. It's not much of a word, though. I never use it. If I could choose a verb to forget, that verb would be retrench. But it wasn't. One day I forgot the verb to broil. While having dinner with others, I tried to tell them how my husband started kitchen fires when broiling lamb chops, his favorite food, which if I didn't cook on his behalf, he cooked for himself. The first time he set a fire, fire engines arrived with sirens blaring, and the firemen put it out. The same thing happened the second time, but this time the fireman asked my husband why he hadn't cooked some chops for them, because he should have known they'd be coming. It would have been a nice, quite funny story, but I couldn't remember the name of the verb in question, so I had to describe how the chops were being cooked. You know, it's when you put something in a pan right under the heater on the top of the oven and turn the heat on high. Broil, cried the others, but my story was spoiled.